back. It's after the snow. This is our 8th show together, Rick. Man, we really, been making some strides, together. I'm feeling good about it.
I'm learning, Dave. I'm learning, man.
Me too.
It's a new one for me. It's a new for me.
But that's good. That's good. That's new things, new horizons.
And this weekend, we got to kick it this weekend, man.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. You just popped up on me here in the Shy, and you was right down the street. So yeah, we were here, actually right here in this spot on Sunday, hanging out.
Doubt. And it was. I enjoyed it. For us to finally get that face-to-face time and to really sit down and get to chop it up, other than on the show. Yeah. We could talk about some other things. And I got a picture with with the first Source magazine.
You sure did.
Yeah, and it wasn't black and white. I thought the Source was always black and white, so I found out some other stuff that I didn't know, that the Source was color.
Well, it was a color piece of paper, a yellow piece of paper. There was no color photos or anything for a minute. But yeah, you probably got, like you were saying, maybe like a Xerox copy that people were handing out.
They probably were just going around the prison making copies of your magazine, passing it out.
Exactly.
Which is the best way to blow up. That word of mouth marketing is incredible.
Definitely. And then we got a chance to go down to your book signing out here. So, anyone that has not picked up your book or read your book, it's an incredible book. You can order it on Rick's website, freewayricky.com. That's right.
Ricky Ross.
freewayrickyross.com.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes.
My bad.
That's okay.
So this is After the Snow. It's the podcast that we host together. I'm Dave Mays. I'm a creator of the Source magazine and now the creator and co-founder of Breakbeat Media, which is the new podcast network for the hip hop community. We've got a slate of amazing podcast shows. Some of them are out already. Some of them coming soon. So, definitely stick with us. My co-host, Freeway Rick Ross. The one and only.
In the building.
Absolutely.
And you know what else was amazing? That the guy that's working with you on the Larry Hoover story asked me about one of my best friends. Norman was my best friend in high school. And to find out that Norman was connected to Larry Hoover and the Chicago movement was amazing and surprising. Yeah. I really looked up to Larry. Out of all American Gangster series that I watched, next to mine, of course, I like Larry Hoover's the best.
Yeah, Larry has an incredible story that really, really needs to be told. Breakbeat, as you mentioned, has been working on the first authorized documentary telling Larry's life story from beginning all the way up to today and the fight to get him home right now to his family. So shout out to Johans, that's the writer and reporter here in Chicago that you met. And shout out to Miss Wendy, Larry, and all the family. And that's going to be coming soon from Breakbeat. Summertime, we'll be dropping the Larry Hoover series, 10 parts, 10 episodes. So
I'll definitely be listening to every one of those. I also had a chance to read a lot of their case because I was in jail with a couple of guys from his case. Bible, Poteet was guys that I got really close to while I was in the pen. Matter of fact, I won my first basketball title with Poteet. We was on the same team. So shout out to Poteet and me winning my first basketball championship. I'd been playing ball a long time, but I was never able to win a championship. And finally I did it at FCI Victorville.
That's what's up. So this is After the Snow. This is the podcast where we talk about the TV show Snowfall. We're in the 5th season of Snowfall. It's become one of the biggest shows on TV, highest rated. And we just finished watching episode 7 out of 10 for this new season. And to me, they turned it around because the last couple weeks it's been feeling like where things going, a lot of kind of things that kind of just seem a little crazy. The Tiger and some of the other stuff that's been going on, it just seemed like they're pushing it. But to me, it felt like they got back into a real groove with this show. I know
they're really back in a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I was really intrigued. I couldn't stop watching the show. I would wait for these commercials to be over so I can see what happened. So
and I understood some of it. The one with Leon that really brought it back home. And it made me think when me and Ali first went to the big homie Martin with a $50 rock, and Martin really beat me out of the cocaine, and Ali really wanted to do something to Martin, and I can remember me telling Ali, man, you can't kill Martin the big homie, because Ali was more of a hothead than I was, back in the days, but really that in and seeing him and Leon talking and trying to come to some type of agreement. I thought that was real.
Yeah. So last week, as everybody probably remembers, there was this, where there had been this rash of drive-by shootings, 3 drive-by shootings, shot up all of Franklin and his crew. And we've been trying to, figure out who it was. We found out at the end of last episode that it was supposed to be Kane, who's an OG. His younger brother Kevin was Franklin and Leon's boy. Close friend. They grew up together.
No, they looked up to him. He was a big homie. Remember, Leon said that he always wanted to be like Kane, and that was something else that kind of surprised me. Now, this surprised me is that Kane admitted it so easily.
That he was behind it.
Yeah, like that was kind of like, that don't really. I mean, that don't usually happen in the streets, where a guy admit that, yeah, I tried to kill you and your mama and your sister, your pregnant girlfriend, and everybody else in your family. It's not something that's usually easy admitted. So
yeah,
now that kind of took me a little bit. I thought he would have hit it a little better.
Yeah, but that was an interesting scene. And while we're on that, you're talking about Leon, goes to meet with Kane, and of course, there's a lot of discussion in this episode. What are we going to do to retaliate? Are we going to retaliate now? Wait? Or Leon has another plan, and he goes to meet with Kane to talk about squashing things. Nobody got killed, fortunately, and he figures it's better to form some type of alliance. Kane is an OG that apparently has a lot of great relationships around the city that can be beneficial to their business, and convinces him to squash things. And they talk about what happened to his brother and why that happened, and he has an honest conversation with him, and that's the way they
they took. Now I believe they took that out of my book. I talked about in the book where I go to the skating ring, and there was a guy from the Great Street Crips named Honcho, and it's funny. Last time I saw him, we had a party. We was throwing little parties and stuff because we was trying to be on the hip hop scene too. We were thinking about getting some rappers, and we was doing the party, the DJ. We had all the equipment and everything, and we was throwing little parties with our little lowrider club. And one night we had a party, and Honcho comes to the party, and he didn't know we having cocaine money now, and he pulls up on little Tommy, and little Tommy had a car that nobody probably in LA was gonna mess with no more because he had the kind of money that most people in LA didn't have. And he beat Honcho, and Honcho wanted to fight. And I had a pistol in my pocket, and I was like, Honcho, we ain't doing no fighting. Tommy at that time probably was about 15, 16 years old, so he's like my little homie. And I'm like, I ain't letting nobody beat up the little homie. You know what I'm saying? Honcho got like 23-inch arms, bench pressing 600 pounds on the bench. So we ain't doing no fighting with this guy. And the next time I see him, I'm at the skating ring. I'm by myself. I'm going to pick up a chick from the skating ring, and I don't have my pistol. And I'm in the back of the skating ring. No exit. I can't get out. And Honcho walks in, and he got 3 guys with him. And I tell myself, "You finna get your ass beat tonight." And it just so happened that when we got close to each other, he started smiling at me. The kind of smile like, "Yeah, I like what you're doing." And I put him down that next day. I told him to come by the house. After I found out I didn't get my ass beat, I told him to come by the house the next day. And I think I threw him about 8 ounces, just gave him to him. And at that time, ounces was worth about 2,400, 2,500 to me. But somebody else could take that same ounce and maybe make $5,000 off each one of them. So that started our relationship on another level. And I see the same thing as what Leon is trying to do with Kane, recruiting somebody that he knows has a lot of power and a lot of juice that could really move a lot of dope.
Exactly. Now, when they meet, I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit. They're at a place called Tam's Burgers. Tam's Burgers has been somewhat of a fixture in Compton for a long time. I'm not sure how long it's been around, but I know
30,
it's still
40
around.
years. Cheap hamburgers, cheap fries. You go there late at night. When everybody else is closed, they're open.
Yeah.
Fast food, but a little better than McDonald's and Jack in the Box. But at the same time, a fast food joint, I've been there a few times.
I'm sure. Now that's the location that's also notable because this is where Suge Knight got into the altercation that resulted in him running over
Terry Carter.
Terry Carter, and rest in peace,
A
Terry
good friend
Carter.
of mine. A good friend of mine. Terry is one of the 3 founders of the Bloods. Terry Cardo, Big Puddin', and Terry Carter are considered the founders of the Bloods.
Wow.
And I didn't really know Terry Cardo. I was still kind of young when Terry Cardo was alive. But me and Puddin' was pretty good friends, as well as Terry Carter.
Yeah. So Terry, died that day out front of Tam's Burgers. And Suge is now, doing a lot of time, 28 years or whatever he got for that case at Tam's Burgers. So shout out to Suge as well. I always tell the story of how important Suge Knight was to me and to the Source, especially those Source Awards in '95 that everybody remembers. They remember the, kind of the drama with Suge going on stage and, you want to be all kind of diss and puffy and that kind of stuff. But Suge put up a lot of money to help make that show what it was, that opening scene where the whole death row lineup comes out of the jail cells performing. And I mean, it was an incredible show that they put on, and he paid for all of that. No other label put up money like that to support the first televised edition of the Source Awards in 1995. So
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah. I had a really good relationship with Suge for a number of years, and even recently, I spoke to him. Like I was telling you, maybe a couple months ago, I was able to get on the phone with him, and we chopped it up a little bit. He sounded in good spirits, but
Good. I'm waiting on a phone call from him right now. He also went with me against Universal when I sued the rapper for stealing my name. Suge came in and told the lawyers of Universal that they knew that this guy had took my name and they knew that they owed me money and that they should give it to me.
Okay. Well, that's good that he tried to help you out with that situation.
Yeah, he did. I gotta admit, this Suge has always been, a good dude to me.
Yeah. Well, now, before we shift back to the show, we've also talked before about Harry O. Harry O was your cellie when I believe you first went to prison. Harry O was a player in the LA scene in the 80s, kind of contemporary of yours. And Harry O is, alleged to be the one who put up the money to start Death Row Records with Suge and Dr. Dre. And, of course, they had an ongoing dispute for a long time and lawsuits and et cetera. But now, for one reason or another, the tables are kind of turned. Suge is locked up. Harry O got out not too long ago, and he's back on the scene trying to make things happen. But I know Harry O well, so just
Yep.
share
Yep.
your perspective on that if you could.
Well, right now, matter of fact, me and Harry talked the first time a couple weeks of that. But he really don't want me talking about it publicly. So I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to really go into to our relationship or what we've been through. But we were cellies. I was there when Suge came down to the prison and met him the first time. I think Harry's a brilliant man. I'm looking for great things from Harry. And it's just amazing that they've traded places. When you think about it, Harry came up with a lot of those ideas while he was in prison, and now that he's out, and I hear he may be running Death Row now.
Oh, really?
They say Snoop. They say Snoop bought Death Row, and I think that he has Harry running it for him, or they're running it. They may even be partners. I'm not for sure how that's working out, but people can look for some great things coming from Harry. Harry's a very, very brilliant dude. Like I said, other times, he's one of the ones who started me reading books while I was in prison and put me up on magazines and just so much stuff that he was doing, not only for me, but for other guys as well that was in prison. And people look for some great things to happen from me.
Yeah, I've never met him, but I look forward to meeting him one day. And so did you have a chance to get involved in Death Row at the beginning, or that was Harry's deal? You didn't know?
Well, I was supposed to be a part of it, when it all started. I'm the one that found out that Dre was having problems with Eazy first, and I told Harry about it, and that's the way he started looking for Dre. Because I told him that they was having the problems, and he was working on Lydia's album. And I thought that it would be a good idea to have Dre produce one of her records for her.
Wow. Okay. So you were right there. That was a big moment in history, when Dr. Dre decides to leave Ruthless Records and NWA and, walks away from everything, partners up with Suge Knight, and they launched Death Row Records. And, of course, Death Row has changed the whole course of hip hop.
No doubt.
Yeah. So let's bring it back to the show, man, because like I said, this was a good show. There's a lot of interesting things that's going on that we can talk about. They start off like they're having the meeting. They're trying to figure out what to do. Leon has his plan, and in the meantime,
who was turned out to be vicious is the auntie, man.
Auntie Louie, I was just about to bring her up.
She don't play, man. She pretty, but she don't play.
She got her own ideas. So of course, she goes to meet with her police contact, Buckley, and tells him, she wants to kill Kane for what he did. And, basically they agree on $150,000 payment.
I don't know why she paying so much though.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, in the hood, you can get somebody killed in the hood for a couple $1,000s, and you're talking about a gangbanger, a known gangbanger, fresh out of jail. When those kind of guys get killed in the hood, nobody really cares. It's a long story, but the guy who gave me the name Freeway Rick, he was kind of like a Kane on the streets. Jay Clayton was his name, and Todd from Main Street wind up killing Jake. They had a couple incidents. Todd was banging his old lady. Because Jake used to clown us all the time. Every time we would go to the street races, and he would always clown us about our cars being so raggedy. But then Todd started banging his wife. Todd was my boy, and Jake found out that he was banging his wife, so we caught him at the skating ring one day, and they beat him up pretty bad. And eventually, Todd caught him slipping and killed him. And when they caught Todd, they only gave him a couple years because everybody wanted Jake off the streets. So when those kind of guys get killed, nobody really, the courts are not really like, he didn't kill a college football player or nothing like that there, is what I'm trying to say. He's the kind of guy that the police would be like when they see him, yeah, we knew he's going to get killed. Wonder what took so long. So, with a Kane, and I would see a Kane almost in the same, if I would have did the scene, it would have been almost like the same thing. Like nobody going to really care if Kane get killed.
Right. That's what she said, though. She kind of said that, so, but she's overpaying for TV purposes, let's say. But Louie really is, you're starting to see a whole, another level to her character. She's always, to me, if you go back, she's always been kind of hungry and kind of thirsty for power and money, going back to the beginning. Jerome was always, taking the lead and running things, but now, the tables are turning here again, and Louie is starting to, it's like a power shift where Louie's now becoming the leader because Jerome, as we see towards the end of the show, goes back to his neighborhood and he wants to reconnect and do,
Well, and Jerome just seems like a brute. He's just a big old guy. He's angry. He doesn't really think a whole lot. Louie, she's more calculated. Even was that her girlfriend she killed? OD'd? Was that her girlfriend that she
in the early seasons?
Yeah. Because I've been going back through the seasons. I've been running through them, kind of like watching 2 or 3 shows at a time, and some of the stuff flashes in my mind and out of my mind. But I can remember when she goes in and the lady was in the bathtub. And she had some heroin there, and they don't really show if Louie was the one who gave her the heroin, but the emphasis is that she did. And then, the cop, remember the cop who comes in and arrest her, he was trying to pin the murder on her. And thought he was going to get a confession out of her. Right.
That was her girlfriend, yep.
And she was in love with her.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So for her to kill somebody she's in love with is kind of showing her viciousness and her ambition to get to the top. I'll get to the top over love, over whatever. I'm just going. I'm not gonna play with this thing.
So while we're talking about Louie, there's a lot to talk about. Of course, Jerome proposes to her. They get engaged. We see in the preview at the end of the episode that there's a big wedding taking place. We don't know if that's going to happen next week or what, but there is this wedding scene that they flash at the very end. But at the same time, we got to talk about this kind of energy going on between Buckley the cop and Louie. Like it's looking like they might get together. Of course, Buckley's been, dropping lines and hints and called her beautiful and this, that, and the other. But, it looks like there could be something there that pops up down the road between them.
Yeah, well, that would be interesting because you're right. He is capping at her. And he been capping at her all along. Even when she was hooking him up with the other girls, he still was kind of digging on her. But, everybody wants the one with the power. And I guess he's starting to see that she's wedging some power right now. And I guess he's attracted not only to her beauty, but also that her tenacity to get to the top, to be willing to do whatever. Because he seems like a do whatever it takes to get, a dirty cop is the worst person in the world to me. Ones who forge search warrants and lie on the witness stand, and when they start doing that, they become worse than the worst. In my personal opinion, And here he is talking about committing a murder. So he's doing one of the ultimate crimes that a person could commit, and especially coming from law enforcement.
Yeah, yeah. So we got to keep our eye on that, and we also see in that preview Louie having some kind of meeting with Teddy, the CIA agent. So we're going to talk about what that might mean. But before we start thinking about what's going to come next, let's go back into this episode. Now, another big part of this episode is Peaches, and the whole situation. Where's Peaches? Did he sell them out? And Jerome goes out there trying to track him down, and finds out that he's a heroin junkie.
Wow,
And
that was a surprise.
yeah, that came kind of
because everything, he was always doing his nose.
mm-hmm.
So that would have been more of a cocaine, problem than a heroin problem. But the guys do snort heroin. They do snort it. But I never seen them where the nose drain, like it does with the cocaine. The cocaine it'll make your nose run if you're snorting a lot of it. So I thought he was going to be a cocaine user more so than a junkie. But that was surprising, to see that the guy said he comes to that house, with where all the needles are in arms, and everybody got the tracks and so forth. I was surprised.
Yeah. Now, just let's talk a little bit about heroin. What that was like at the time when you got into the drug game in the late 70s and early 80s, and how you would compare that to cocaine and eventually crack.
Well, I had an opportunity to get into heroin. Well, you look at it like this here. Here I am. 23, 24 years old. I'm running around South Central with a couple $1 million. So I had the opportunity, and people came to me with all kind of different offers. From being able to get into PCP, heroin, cocaine, weed. When you have the money buys opportunities. So I had an opportunity to get into heroin, but I had already kind of seen, the effects of heroin. The junkies laying on the street, dirty clothes, not showering, and I didn't think I wanted part of that. PCP. When I looked at PCP, I saw people, getting naked, running in football stadiums, at concerts. And matter of fact, I had a cousin who was a dear cousin to me. And one time he got high and he climbed up in a tree, butt naked, talking about he was a cuckoo bird. So I had saw the effects of PCP, and I didn't want any parts of that either.
I remember they used to call that Love Boat in DC in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. So but cocaine was different. When I saw cocaine, I saw pimps, driving Cadillacs with big grills and looking like Superfly with the gold chains on, and Rick James was getting high, and Richard Pryor and Don Cornelius and Quincy Jones, guys like this here. So it looked more attractive to me. It didn't look like a junkie drug. It looked more like a piece of Hollywood.
Right, and that was more what you were, I guess, aspiring towards. Was that
absolutely. I was definitely tennis is really a part of entertainment. People go watch tennis is for entertainment. So I wanted to be in the entertainment world. One time I wanted to play football, basketball, and who didn't want to be on TV? When you see people on TV, you think about big money. And I wanted a part of that.
Yeah. So let's keep going with the show. I think another major theme that we should talk about is what's going on with Jerome that you're seeing kind of psychologically. You see it when he goes to the VA hospital, the doctor's telling him, you should be really taking care of yourself. You should look into therapy. Then he sits in on that therapy session with the other junkie guy that knows Peaches, and he's listening to the stories, and they're talking about how, they're constantly angry, how they had to deal with being hunted down and, feeling like somebody's out to kill them all the time. And then, Jerome goes to that garden. He's sitting in the garden, reflecting with the birds chirping and the fish and all that kind of stuff going on. And he's thinking about things. And so, you really start
he's under a lot of pressure. When you think about the life that they're living, he's walking around with a gun every day. I've been there. I know what it's like. I get up in the morning, put my clothes on, eat my breakfast, put my bulletproof vest on, and put my pistol in my pocket. That's a lot of pressure. And the only reason a guy would be carrying a pistol is for two reasons. One, he thinks somebody may try to kill him, or he may have to kill somebody. So when you're living that type of a lifestyle, and I think that's what the writers were trying to project when they show him with this anger and this brutal strength that he. It's almost like he's wearing this facade, that I got to be like this, to protect myself and protect my family.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to me, what they're kind of doing, which is cool in a sense with the show, is they're raising the issue of mental health in the hood. And, there's always kind of been a stigma about mental health and, people feeling, like they don't need help or to go to ask somebody for help. And, in the recent years, there seems to be a few more people speaking up about that and trying to direct resources into mental health for our inner city communities. So, what do you think about that?
Well, we definitely have a mental problem in South Central. When I was coming up, Dave, I thought that the life that I lived was normal. I thought it was totally normal to get up and put your gun in your pocket, and be ready to kill somebody or get killed or go to prison. So when you look at that, I got a friend, I've been knowing this guy since elementary. He did 40 years in prison, and the guy believes that hurting people is something that he should do if somebody gets out of line with him in any kind of way. He's been so used to being brutal to people that this has become a way of life for him, and he thinks nothing of it. He has not even a second thought about really punishing somebody for whatever reason. So those are definitely mental problems. Those are definitely mental health problems. The gangbanging. Those are mental health problems. When you feel that you should hurt somebody because they're from a different neighborhood or because they took your girlfriend or just some of the dumb stuff that we kill people over in the community, or going up to an ATM machine and robbing somebody for their money because you don't have any. That's a mental problem, that you feel that you can take somebody else's who went out and worked hard for it just on the simple fact that you don't have. So I think that those are all some mental issues that we definitely need to tap into.
Would you say that, if people who are looking for, some solutions, would you say that putting more resources behind mental health services for folks would be a good idea? Do you think that stigma is still there, or how do we get past that stigma so that people can get the help that they need?
Well, we definitely need to put more resources into our communities. Um, my tennis coach, when I first went to prison, and me and him used to talk all the time, and we talked about rehabilitation. And he said that in order to be rehabilitated, you first have to be habilitated the first time. And so many times in our community, people have never been habilitated. So we definitely need to put resources toward habilitating our people and helping them with some of the traumas that has went on in our community.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to what you were saying, like how when you grew up, you thought all this stuff was normal, and I think people on the outside looking in don't realize how that might be to grow up in one of these communities. I think we talked about this in a previous episode, like when we saw Leon taking the kids on a bus trip to the beach. Like a lot of these kids, a lot of young people have never left their hood. They've never gone to the beach, let alone travel anywhere else in the world, let alone, have any idea of what's out there. So all they know is, the environment that they're in.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something else that we need to do is give different exposure. You can only your dreams can only go as far as the things you saw that you've been able to visualize, and you can only visualize things that you see happening. So we definitely need to put more resources toward those areas, in my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why it's
Um,
so important to me to do my own TV series, is because these are the things that needs to be explained, and has, in my opinion, Dave, has never been explained in any TV show or any movie about black people. They just don't get it. They think that most of the time when the news media are promoting blacks, we're just violent, vicious, unsympathetic human beings, and that's not the case. Uh, uh, we have feelings just like everybody else. We have sympathy, uh, uh, but at the end of the day, you are what you see here.
yeah. So another theme that I liked to see in this episode that's in a similar vein, what they're doing with the show is, showing a certain level of consciousness amongst the characters and a desire to give back to the community and do things. You see it with Leon. Leon, of course, we've spoke about, has sort of transformed, and he's almost a Black Power advocate now. In terms of we got to stop this violence and we're killing each other and that type of message and wanting to do things for the people. And then we see the same thing with Jerome in this episode where he says, look, I need to get back to my roots. I want to go back into the community. I want to do things, build businesses in the hood. And, that's where the show ends, is him, going back to the hood and looking at doing stuff like that.
Yeah, because the way Kane was saying about Leon, like Leon was a terror.
Mm-hmm.
When he left the streets. He I forgot the words that he used, but he was referring to Leon being hard headed. And you talking about a gang member calling, a gang leader calling you hard headed.
I wrote it down. He said, "Raging, lawless Leon."
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. So when you're talking about a gang leader saying this about the youngster, and you're talking about a youngster that probably would have did whatever Kane wanted him to do, because he looked up to Kane.
Yeah.
So, he would have followed Kane to the end of the world if Kane would have allowed him to, but apparently Kane was trying to steer Leon in a different direction. So now you're talking about here, Leon is becoming a conscious brother, talking about we don't want to be killing each other. But then on the other hand, he's talking about killing the Mexicans, for what they done. So he still has that viciousness in him, but he wants to look out for the people that he feels is his own.
We might have talked about this once before, but I wanted to bring it up again. I mean, there are people in real life that probably, that not probably, but do think like Leon and Jerome, they're making money and they want to find ways to help their community, but you don't see a lot of it. I mean, number one, you don't hear the stories, a lot of the people who are doing the work in the community, but talking about people who become famous, and the challenges of, staying in your hood, building businesses in the hood. We talked about how you've been able to maintain that, down to earth presence and being able to still visit your communities. But then, we look at what happened with Nipsey Hussle, who was really committed to building things in South Central LA and providing opportunities, and and how he was killed, and all that, was kind of wiped out, unfortunately, but killed in his own hood. So,
Well, it's dangerous in the hood. You have to know how to maneuver inside the hood. Maneuvering inside the hood is not the same as maneuvering in the valley and Beverly Hills. It's a different movement. You're talking about, like I was just telling you about my guy Antonio. In the pen, they start calling him Eminem. You have to know how to maneuver around these guys, because these guys have absolutely no no regrets on hurting you if you get out of line with them. Guys like that will punish you if you make them feel a certain way. So you have to maneuver in the hood in that type of fashion. Even where I'm standing at right now. I'm in what they call the Denver Lane hood. I stay in the Denver Lane hood right now. I grew up in the Hoover hood. Hoovers and Denver Lane was arch enemies. So I've had guys from Denver Lane who got out of the pen and come at me, and these are guys who was like the guy who killed Nipsey. They got track records, and you have to handle those type of situations delicately. You can't blow up and be Billy Badass. You have to really handle those situations delicately. And so, when you're maneuvering in South Central, you definitely have to tread water carefully.
Rest in peace to Nipsey, the great man. He was, one of the few that was willing to take those risks that you're talking about and try to, create things for his community. And we don't see enough of that. And
no, we don't. We need
especially
more.
in hip hop. So major loss for hip hop.
You know what I was gonna say too, Daddy, but it was funny to me is they got all these white people in South Central. In the 80s, it wasn't white people in South Central.
Right.
It wasn't even many Mexicans in South Central in the 80s. South Central was really a black community, was really a solid black community. Having dope houses where white people were in there shooting heroin. Come on. No, stop it.
Mm-hmm.
That just popped in my head that I had to bring that up because I'm seeing all these, Teddy running around the community. Even, when my connections, I had to tell them, sometimes they would be riding through the neighborhood looking for me. And I had to, man, listen, man, don't be coming over here, man. Listen, them dudes might know you, but they don't really know you.
Right.
These dudes will catch you and tie you up. You know what I'm saying? If you talk about, man, bring a ransom for this dude. You want him back, bring some paper.
Right.
So it wasn't. I mean, that was some big fabrications. Having white guys just walking down the street. It didn't happen in the 80s.
Yeah. So a few more things I want to cover from the episode. Sissy, Franklin's mom, she's becoming more of a factor a little bit. She's talking to Veronique and kind of, putting a wedge in a certain sense between Franklin and Veronique. She says she's doing it to help Franklin. But we see her having some thoughts about taking that device, that listening device that she was given a few episodes back by this guy that we still don't know who he is. We still haven't seen him return yet. I'm sure he will. But she's thinking about putting that microphone in Franklin's office. Is that the answer to get out of this mess in her mind?
I don't know. Maybe in her mind that might be the way to get him out. It might be the way to send him to the penitentiary. We don't know yet how that would turn out. But I don't think it's going to turn out good for Franklin at all. There's really nothing good could come out of having his conversations on tape or people being able to bring up what he's been talking about. I think that's a negative all the way. I don't see any way that could be a positive.
Yeah.
I believe that if she really wanted to get him out, she would just have to put more pressure on him. Go in and give him that motherly love and explain to him. Even though my mom did it, I still didn't quit. But I wasn't as rich as Franklin is right now. Franklin is rich as hell. They're playing with. It looked like they're playing with hundreds of millions. When I looked at the wall of cocaine that they had in, what's the big wrestler guy's name?
Oso.
When Oso was doing the inventory, and I see Teddy with all this cocaine, I wish I would have had all that cocaine when I was selling. I would have quit in about 2 weeks. They had a lot of cocaine up in that joint, man. That looked like cocaine heaven. So I think that I don't know. It's like they're making money legally now. He's in the newspaper. Why are you still selling? My thing is that I was always looking for a way out. And one of the ways that I made my mistake, Dave, is that I thought my way out was to get a business and let somebody else run it for me. You take over the business. I never understood the fact that just like I didn't turn my dope sack over to nobody, that I wasn't supposed to turn my businesses over to somebody and expect them to take my business and make it work. Because most of the time it wasn't their dream. It was my dream. And their goals was just to get money out of me. So,
yeah.
But it seems like they're doing really well in their legal businesses.
Yeah, I can relate to that as an entrepreneur mostly all of my life, pretty much. I mean, people are never going to see the things you see the way you see them. And you have to learn how to delegate and you have to learn how to build a team because you can't do it alone. But, it's hard to expect someone else, like you said, to take over a business and run it with the same, commitment and passion that you have as an entrepreneur. That's definitely a challenge.
And I was looking in the wrong places. I read a book one time and it talked about would you go fishing in a pond where the water was black? And the answer to that was no. I wouldn't be fishing for fish in a pond where the water was black and I'm going to eat that fish. And basically what they were saying about that, when you hire employees, you got to go to where there's a nice pool of employees, where the people are hungry, are trying to have something. And me thinking that my goal was to bring up my hood, I was fishing in the wrong pond. I was fishing with guys that, the only thing they had really cared about in life a lot of times was hurting people, gang banging and so forth. So that was a valuable lesson for me, is that you have to know where you're fishing from.
So going back to Sissy, I think, she can kind of lead us into the last major thing we need to talk about, Sissy and Teddy. So Teddy learns that Franklin's mom is back. This is the first time he's finding out. She's back from Cuba. They had an agreement when he, arranged to get Sissy and Franklin's dad out to Cuba that they were never to return because of what had happened. She's back. Of course, we know she believes that Teddy killed her husband and Franklin's dad. And so I'm sure she doesn't feel like that agreement stands anymore. But, there's definitely something going on there. She's plotting on Teddy. Teddy's plotting on Franklin. How's
You think
that all?
Franklin gonna let Teddy kill his mama?
I don't know. I hope not. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think there's going to be.
I mean, but it could come down to that, though. Really, you're talking about if Teddy finds out she's trying to kill him, wouldn't that make it where he may have to think about killing her?
It could, and that and Franklin might be put in that spot to try to protect his mother. I don't think he's now.
And I don't think Auntie Louie would have no problem with getting rid of both of them.
Right.
She's already saying that she don't want no boss.
Right.
She said early on in the series, I don't know which series it was I watched, but she's basically said that I don't want to be under nobody's thumb.
Yeah.
And I took that to mean not Franklin, not Teddy, like I want to be the one.
Yeah.
Just watch out for that. Remember, I brought that up.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to look forward to these next 3 episodes. And, when Teddy goes to meet with Franklin, I think the other thing that everybody probably noticed, and he just kind of bossed him down. Like he just verbally kind of abused him, told him.
That ain't the first time, though, Dave.
Yeah.
He's done that to him a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Franklin's been letting him, he's been scared of him. Like
and then even when he talked to Louie, he talked about, and I think this is a scene they stole from Superfly, that I ain't gonna do nothing to make him kill me.
Right.
Remember he says that to Auntie Louie and them.
Right.
As long as we sell his dope, we'll be all right.
Right. Right. I couldn't help but think when I was watching the scene in the parking garage with Teddy screaming on Franklin and Franklin just going for it. I'm like, is he pulling a Will Smith on Franklin? Is Franklin Chris Rock getting slapped around by Teddy here? And I don't want to make light of that issue, but that did cross my mind while I was watching that scene.
Yeah. Franklin has definitely submitted to Teddy.
Yeah.
Has made Teddy the man of the hour. In my personal opinion, it should be the other way around. They say money is king.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that leads us to like looking forward where this thing could go from here. I mean, there's a lot of things swirling. I mean, Franklin, is he going to survive? He's got Teddy plotting on him. He's got Louie kind of looks like starting to, to plot on him. He's got to worry about his mom and this person that she's, hired or whatever to deal with it. And there's still questions about Veronique. She's, can he trust her? Is she trying to,
I think she's going to pull out on him.
Yeah, she's trying to leave him. She keep kind of making references about that. And then, we see that scene. It's very quick, but there's a scene where Teddy meets with a guy who he's talking to about, basically bank fraud and how can you, he has the technology and whatnot to go in and steal money out of these bank accounts untraced and get rid of it to untraceable accounts. So it seems like that's what Teddy is planning to do to Franklin to wipe him out. Is he's going to steal all of Franklin's money, as a means of wiping him out
and giving him control.
Yeah,
because without the money, Franklin is just a normal. He's just a normal dude.
Yeah.
Without the cocaine and the money, he's just normal. There's nothing special. I haven't seen anything special about Franklin yet. Nothing that really like. I mean, he has showed some inklings that he can figure out who's spying on him and stuff like that.
He's no freeway Rick Ross. You know what I mean? Like he's cool, but he's no freeway Rick Ross.
Yeah, I haven't saw the organizational skills. I just haven't saw that. That makes him something special. and I'm waiting to do that. I mean, if you get cocaine at a great price and you sell it at a great price, you just make money. But as far as showing other skills, I haven't really witnessed that yet in the show.
So at the end, after the show ends, maybe some people don't notice, but after the show ends and all the credits and everything goes off is when they show a little preview of next week's episode. So that's where we saw the wedding taking place, Jerome and Louie's wedding. Franklin looks like he's the best man there. We see Louie having some kind of meeting with Teddy, and we also see Jerome saying something to the effect of, "I'm not gonna, go to war with my family." So that's sort of suggesting again that this Louie versus Franklin battle is going to heat up, and maybe Louie sides with Teddy. She had a relationship with Teddy from previous seasons when Franklin was in jail. Louie was the one kind of dealing with Teddy, so they know each other. So maybe Teddy thinks Franklin's getting sloppy. Teddy doesn't like Franklin investing and going into these big high-profile real estate things like we talked about. So he's looking for somebody else to take over, and maybe that's going to be Louie.
Yeah, I mean, even with Franklin not knowing that Peaches was a dope fiend. How do you ride in the car with somebody all day, every day, and not know that they're on heroin?
Right.
That's hard to do. You never saw him nod out. You never saw him scratching. You don't know the signs of a dope fiend, and you've been in this business. So right. It's just, those are just things that make me question Franklin's ability to recognize what's going on around him. Like he ain't recognizing Auntie Louie. Louie told him, and because she's slick though. Remember, she told him, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea to make the deal with my man, the one who just got out of jail."
Kane. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when they told him that they was gonna go talk to Bill, and now, and she said, "Oh, so now he's gonna be working with us." Right. And Leon said, "Yeah, he's gonna be working with us." And then she almost snapped, but she caught herself. Right. And she said, "Oh yeah, good idea."
Right. Knowing that she got Buckley out there.
She's gonna kill him. About to take him out. Kane is a dead man.
Yeah.
She's already gonna kill Kane. His days are numbered.
Well, we'll see what happens. And I even with Peaches, we don't know. They talk about Peaches supposedly went to Thailand or to Burma, but we'll see what really happens. Is he going to pop back up on the show in some capacity? Are we going to learn a little bit more about the story with Peaches? Or is it, as simple as it may seem that he was this heroin junkie that Franklin never noticed, nobody noticed, like you said, all this time, but we'll see. So we got a lot to look forward to. Well, one last thing that I really liked is that they brought back great music to the show. Like that, when you go to the first few seasons of the show, I remember the first season when I watched it, the music, that they chose was just incredible. Great music, really, classic music. And they kind of got away from that this season. But this episode, they had some great music, throughout the show. So I think that was another thing that made me feel like, they really brought the show back around with this episode, and it's got me looking forward to the rest of the season, these next 3 shows.
No doubt.
So before we sign off from After the Snow, I wanted to shout out Ebro from Hot 97. You had a chance to chop it up with Ebro in the morning crew earlier this week. If you guys are watching, you can pull it up on the Hot 97 YouTube and watch Rick's interview. Pretty good interview that you did earlier this week. I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Ebro was he's a good interviewer.
Yeah.
When you get good interviews, I'm always enjoy interviews where the people are educated and knowledgeable about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
When you talk to people and they ain't did no research, no studying, it's like,
Yeah, he had a lot of questions, and you handled the questions extremely well. I thought you did a great job on that interview. So people should definitely look it up and check it out. So after the snow, we're the Snowfall After Show podcast every week, Thursdays on audio, Fridays on the Breakbeat Media YouTube channel to watch the show. Audio is on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm Dave Mays. I got Freeway Rick Ross. We are the co-hosts of After the Snow on the Breakbeat Podcast Network. And thank you guys for staying with us. And we look forward to seeing you all next week.
peace.
Peace.